All right, in our second video for section 1.3, we're going to talk about multiplying, dividing, and simplifying fractions. And our rule for multiplying fractions is anytime that I have two fractions and they are being multiplied, I can simply multiply my tops with my tops and my bottoms with my bottoms. I can multiply numerators together and I can multiply denominators together. Now, some of you are wondering why that works and how that works. Well, I found a cool video from the Khan Academy that I've posted in Canvas that you can kind of look at to see how that works and why that works. And it kind of gives you a better understanding of why we can, when we multiply fractions, just multiply across the top and multiply across the bottom. I suggest that you watch that video so that you have a better understanding of why that rule works. But we're going to continue on with example number 4, and we're going to multiply fractions together. Now, when we multiply fractions, we do not need a common denominator. We just simply, again, multiply across the numerators and multiply across the denominators. So on example number 4a, when we're multiplying, we're going to multiply 2 times 5, which is 10, and then we're going to multiply 3 times 7, which is 21. And so when I multiply 2/3 times 5/7, I end up getting 10 over 21. So look at B. I have these two fractions. They're being multiplied. I do not need a common denominator. I just simply multiply across the numerators and multiply across the denominators. So 4 times 8 is 32, and x times y is just xy. They're not really like terms, so you can't really multiply them together. They would just stay an x times a y. Now look at C. C looks a little bit weird because that first number doesn't quite look like a fraction. But maybe you remember you can write any number as a fraction by simply writing it over 1. So 9 is the same thing as 9 over 1. And so now I have two fractions being multiplied, and I can multiply across my numerators. 9 times 7 is 63, and I can multiply across my denominators. 1 times n is just n, or 1n. So I get 63 over n as my product. All right, what if I asked you to find the reciprocal, it's called? Two numbers whose product is 1 are called reciprocals of each other. They're kind of flipped, right? So for example, the reciprocal of 2/3 is 3 over 2. If I flip that fraction, I have its reciprocal. If I were to multiply 2/3 times its reciprocal, 3/2, I would end up getting 6 over 6, or that's equivalent to 1, right? Any number divided by itself equals 1. So what do you think the reciprocal of 9 is? Well, remember, 9 can be written as a fraction, or 9 over 1. And so the reciprocal of 9 is 1 over 9. Again, if I were to multiply them together, their product is 1. So making sure that you can find the reciprocal, or flips, of each fraction is going to be helpful when we do other things like dividing fractions later on.